we can quickly do that in next 3 minutes so we can bring up our speaker. I will want to ask if you are at the first event of the funding that we did last month. Please, can you just make a show? Just use any media you can use. Just make a show if you are at the um, last month's event that we did. Or if, wow, thank you. Who else again? We are at the last meeting, and I know you are also here with your questions. It's going to be an impactful event this evening, and I'm also looking forward to that. Without wasting much of our time, I would love to bring up our guest speaker, Mr. Edward. Thank you for joining us, sir. You have the floor, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bro Stephen. Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we
sir,
can hear you,
loud
sir.
and clear, sir.
We can hear you, sir.
Awesome.
Can hear you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. I'm grateful that we can finally do this. This is like my second time coming, but this is the first time I'm coming physically. I want to thank very especially Pastor Sukomi. Thank you for your great exhortation. I actually used to think that proverb said the blessings of the Lord, but like you made clear now, and I have to go back and look at it. It is the blessing. There can be blessings, but there's a particular blessing, the blessing. So thank you so much, Pastor, and thanks to the team for having me again. I do not take it for granted, and to my big friend and brother Ruben Kalu. We go way back, and he's somebody that can really get me. You know, the last time I was supposed to be here, I was actually on my way out of the country for a job, and my flight was moved and I couldn't come. And I heard that Gideon did very well, so thank you so much. That is the thing about having a team, putting a bit of structure in place so that we know that we are not omnipresence and we can have representations when necessary. So thank you so much, everybody. I want to speak on the topic today, beyond funding. I know that many of us, we very sincerely want to raise money. You know, capital is a big conversation. Money is important. Whether you are interested in money or not, money has taken an interest in us, you know, and it's not something we should leave to chance. It's not something we should leave to the devil or the people of the world. It's something that we are now very interested. I am particularly interested in wealth creation. I'm interested in making money, doing impact, you know, especially the Christian way, faith-based way, right? And I think you should too. Yesterday they did a surprise birthday for me. My birthday was not yesterday. My birthday was February 18, and Ruben was the one that was responsible to hijack me from the office to the venue of the of the of the surprise birthday, right? And he was trying all he could to get me out of the office to the place. And I was busy doing some other thing. I didn't know they had a surprise birthday for me. And as eventually, when I decided to go with him on that dress because I had a tight deadline I was working on, we started talking about the same money issue. And I told him about what Apostle Selman said the night before. Yesterday was 29th. So maybe Hallelujah Challenge happened on the 28th. Sorry, 20. Yesterday was 20. Today is 20. Yesterday was 27. So Hallelujah Challenge happened on the 26th. And I was working to meet a deadline. I had a proposal to submit. And my wife was praying on Hallelujah Challenge. And I heard Apostle Selman said, I'm sorry if you don't subscribe to that ideology or that scripture. I'm sorry, that man of God, because some of us are very picky or very biased who will listen to all kind of prayer platform we join. And I respect your opinions. But this is just for conversation and to lay the background. in my part of my belief why I take funding and wealth creation a bit more seriously. He said that the name of Jesus is heavy. I'm not sure he provided any scriptural context. Anyway, he just said it was I was not attending the Hallelujah challenge. I had another goal, But my wife was, and I was hearing what he was saying, that the name of Jesus is a strong banner or a strong is heavy. That's what he said. That you need money to raise it up for the world to see. You need money. So I think that message, it was just an exhortation or a reminder for us as Christians to not leave our money and wealth creation to chances and just speaking in tongues, you know. And I agree, so that when money gets to our hand, like Pastor was also saying, in alignment with the will of God, we'll give it the right direction. So thank you again for having me. We're looking at beyond funding. So principally today's conversation is not about funding. I'll do this in 1 hour, or that's 60 minutes or less. Just run through the presentation. I've asked Madam Tumi, right, to help circulate the material for those of us that want it after the session. I can do this in less than 60 minutes, just run through. Then, more importantly, take questions. I think once we interact and ask questions, I can provide a bit of clarity and a bit of guidance. So like Pastor said, and like Gideon's also said, there's money in the room, there's money on the table, but most people don't know what to do. I have a background in venture capital, right? I had a 3 year stint in a venture capital firm, and even though I was a geologist coming into management consulting and investment and finance, and that gave me some bit of exposure. And today my business is 15 years and I've seen all sorts of stuff. Where we had today and the level of the minimal result we've gotten, the last 3 years has been the best 3 years, right? In 2025, we're able to, I also mentioned this to Reverend, my pastor, my own church, Pastor Sam, when I had the last DBC praise with him in our Dexter business community. It was more like an open testimony. And it was commending me as one of the leaders within the Dexter business community that we're for the first time in 15 years, late last year, we're at the point where we wanted to cross over 1 billion in revenue. And I hope the tax people are not here, they're not coming after me. But if we really want to be big and play big the way God wants us to be big, our compliance has to be top notch. And I think we must pay those taxes, right? We must. It's only when you want to be small. There are exemptions for small business. So the tax rules said if you're making below a particular threshold, but if you look at it, it's almost like it's the plus, but it's also like a double-edged sword. Don't you want to grow? Do you want to always remain small under that threshold and not pay tax? If you really want to be ambitious and be big, then the tax conversation must come. And eventually, by the time we're closing our book for last year, we did over 1 billion, and I was like, wow. Before that, nobody arrives at 1 billion. The 2 years before, we did under 500 million. And those were big figures for us, maybe 300 and 450. Then from 300, 2023, 450, 2024. Then 2025, we did over it. But I started seeing a pattern, I started saying, meanwhile, just for talk, I got my first grant exactly 10 years ago. February, this month of February, which is my birthday month, is exactly 10 years I got my first grant from Google. It was a whole lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and since that time, we have been getting either personal grants or business grants almost every year. I kid you not. Sometimes we get 2 grants in a year. Some years we don't get, like the COVID year and so on. Maybe we missed it, the COVID years, and maybe 1 or 2 years. So from that window, we've been very consistent. So I've seen the advantage that funding can bring to a business, the leverage and the scale that money can help you achieve. Look at Dangote's refinery, for instance, billion dollars. Who achieves that kind of monumental infrastructure or investment without money? Right. So money is important, capital is important. Understanding it, deploying it, raising it is very, very important. We've also gone ahead this year to deploy capital. We've deployed capital before. I've raised fund, managed fund, deployed fund on behalf of various investors, using different instruments. But for the first time now, yeah, this is fine. Thank you, ma'am. We are now deploying our own capital. So we have two funds that we just launched this February. We have a seed capital for MSMEs and youth as grants that want to apply. So we're not just teaching people how to understand grants or apply for grants. We are also giving them grants, our own money. And I trust God that that fund that we are starting with, a little seed today, will grow in the next 10 years, and it will still be a grant. So that fund is called the Plus Factor Grant, that has been launched, is running. And if you know any young person, not people that need $200 million, small money, right? Catalytic fund, seed fund, just to start something, to test, to experiment. So that fund is running. They will also have another one called Green Grow, another fund we deploy to rural farmers in the north. So we have a funded project in the north, and we're deploying capital to them through another party. So we have a credit paper where if you're a farmer up in the north, you meet some of those criteria, farmers, agri specifically, and that one is a loan, it's not a grant. So we're piloting with both funds, and we're taking risk with our own resource and want to take learnings and see what we adjust to adapt. So funding is important, but today we're talking about beyond funding. Can we leave the funding conversation out a bit? I know it's not very easy to don't talk about money, but today I want to point your attention to maybe other few things that we can do, prepare for, or put in place while we are expecting money. Is it only money that your business or our life is about? Are there other things in business that I should know or I should pay attention to? So that is why this topic is very timely and very important to me. Beyond funding, what are the other leverage? Yeah, we can move on now. The next slide. What are the other leverage or levers that we can step on? It's almost like an input output. If I touch this, I get this cause and effect. If I put this on the ground, let me stay here. So we'll look at the Nigeria MSME landscape. We'll look at the challenges that is holding them back. We'll look at the 5 levers. Please go back to my place. Thank you. The 5 levers to scale. That's what this conversation is about. These 5. Okay, money is part of it, but you need to also know the other things. We'll look at how to find opportunity. So we're in a new year. Everybody have a lot of ambition and drive and resolution. We're all chasing deals, looking for money, chasing fitness, chasing family, chasing spiritual growth and commitment. Yeah, that's fine, But we're all chasing. Who are the people we're supposed to be chasing? Who is giving what? Who is doing what in the ecosystem? So we'll talk about finding opportunity. We'll also talk about how to track your growth and tools to use, or parameters or metrics to use to mention or monitor your growth. And finally, a simple action plan that can help us. Let's move on to number 1, the Nigeria MSME landscape. So we said that in that session, we're saying that if you don't assess or measure, you cannot grow. If you don't access or measure, it's a popular saying, what you cannot measure, you cannot manage. And what you cannot manage, you cannot grow. So the first thing I want to introduce to us here is this, what do you call it now? Let's call it a business landscape assessment. Where am I? Okay, am I running a small business, a micro business, a nano business, a large business, a medium, or a very large? The parameters to use to know where I am. So just like a baseline assessment, a self-audit of not just yourself. I'm not assessing yourself, you're assessing your business, your organization, because I want to believe that I'm talking to business people and entrepreneur here. Surprisingly, that is more of my calling. My calling is around helping businesses start or scale, not helping people find a job. So I don't do CV writing or interview readiness. I speak business plan and funding, right? So I'm more to the Greek or to the Jew than to the Greek, right? That's my own assignment. So here, what I'm just saying here is that you need to do like a baseline assessment. You need to know yourself and plot your graph on a scale of 1 to 6. Where am I? Where is my business? By revenue, by company size, by turnover. That is important because if we don't know where we are per time, we cannot aspire for growth and increase, right? So please, let's take this first self-assessment. And for this not to be a monologue, I will just ask my friends that is helping me control the slides to hold on for like 3 minutes or 5 at the most. Let everybody look at the material, the visuals on the slide, and decide a quick assessment if they are your business. Are you in L1, L2, L3? And I hope this is clear enough that we can see it. So just take an assessment and give me your feedback on the chat group, please. Thank you. I'll wait for like 2 or 3 minutes, please. Thank you. So just post your result in the chat, please. Thank you. Any L1, okay. You actually say L1, okay. Thank you, sir. That's a fair assessment. Okay. Valerie said L1. Okay. Okay. Joint heirs. What's L1? Can we really see the parameters again? Let me look at my material. So L1 is you are doing less than 9 million revenue in a year. 9 million, and you don't have a staff. It's just me, myself, and I. That's a nano business in Nigeria today. Are you sure you understand? And you can see that L1, just me, myself, and I, no staff, practically self-employed, and I'm doing less than 9 million in a year. In 12 months, revenue, no profit. Okay. Any other submissions? So thank you everybody for participating. My next question will be, what I'm having to go to real light. Let me sorry 1 minute. What do we need to do to change levels? What do we need to do to move from L1? So let me ask the next question. What's your desired level on this scale? Where would you want to be? L1, do you want to remain in L1? Or want to move from level 1 to level 5, or from level 1 to level 6, or from level 1 to level 3? What's your desired next level? Let me put it like that. Please help me type it in the chat box. Thank you. Okay, L1 to L4. What does L4 says? For you to move to L4, you need to get up to 100 staff and do more than 1 billion naira in a year. Okay, I like that. I think I'm an L4 participant because I'm currently doing over 1 billion, right? L1 to L6. Wow, that's good. That's good. That's exponential. That's exponential. L1 to L3. Let's also try and make it realistic, right? Not just something vague. Realistic, like something that you can do within a 12-month window between now and December ending, right? Awesome. L1 to L3. So I think I'm currently in L3, sorry, L4, and I want to deepen L4, like consolidates my hold. I'm a new arrival in L4, and I want to deepen my hold in L4. Maybe grow my hub presence across Nigeria, and also increase my staff strength, because I don't have 100 staff at the moment, but what does L5 say? Am I ready to go to 10 billion or 100 billion this year? Sincerely, I'm not aiming for 100 billion this year. If God does it, I'll come back and give testimony. I just want to redo my 1 billion to 1.5, 1.9, 2 billion a couple of times to be sure that this thing is not a fluke, and I understand the science behind it, the principle behind it, and I can systemize it and I can create it. So if any bank makes money, or GT Bank, or Dangote Refinery, or Komo Oils, the way these guys make money and announce profits every year consistently, there's a science behind it. There is a system around it. It's not rise today for tomorrow. It's not, oh, Edward did $1 billion in 2025, and this year I'm struggling to do 200 million. Do you understand? I don't want that rise and fall, brother, hot and cold. I want to understand my growth pattern, take my learnings, then codify them and build it into a system that is repeatable, that is consistent, and even predictable. So I'm a new and first time arrival in 1 billion, and I want to be sure that by the help of God, we can understand what happened to us and we can codify it, systemize it, and take consistent and predictable learnings from it. For me, that is the way to build legacy and to build lasting wealth. So my ambition is, I'm currently in L4, just I'm getting my own level and assessment, but I want to deepen my L4, right? If I happen to be in L5 this year, to take the help of angels and God, and I will not reject that, right? But I want to deepen, and concretize or consolidate my gains in L4. Put together, please. Can somebody hear me, or I'm confusing us already?
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, but is this making sense? I'm just distracting myself.
Making sense, sir.
Okay, awesome. So let's move on. And I assume that we've all taken our baseline assessments. We've also taken our growth ambition. So there are two exercises we did here: measure and growing. So baseline and growth ambition. And I think I've given us some fair reasons why I want to consolidate my L4. So let's move on to the next material. So if you want to change gears, you want to change levels, there are some levers that you must step on. I call those one the fantastic five, and you must see that. So, but before we talk about those fantastic five, let's look at the challenges facing you and I as entrepreneurs and MSME in Nigeria. Again, without looking at the presentation material, let me just get some sense of feedback. What do you think, as a business person in Nigeria, for however long or short you are doing business, what is your one biggest problem or headache facing your business? You can use the chat box. We are now at the 7 major problems facing businesses, not the fantastic 5 to scale. Please, can we go back the slide one time? I want to get feedback from my friends on the call on their business challenges. What would you consider to be your most pressing need as a business owner or as a young entrepreneur? Anybody? We are at the previous slide, please. Not this one. Maybe slide 6, please. Okay. Capital, talent, finance. Can we move the slide one bit? Grade certifications. Okay. Can we move the slide one bit backward, please? Thank you. This is where we are. Any other person, what's your own current concern or headache as a business person, as an entrepreneur? So a lot of people will typically go for money, funding, capital, right? And that is very valid. Everybody needs money. The state governments need money. Federal government does not have enough money. Even the banks are looking for money. There's this recapitalization raise, and from what we know, not all the banks have met it. Some, maybe 20 banks have met it. And the other ones that are not meeting it, they will need to request for an extension if CBN will allow, or merge, or close shop. You know, so even the person you're looking up for money is needing money. Even Dangote is looking for money and raising money for his other projects. And he didn't even use his own resource, personal alone, to build the refinery. He also went to raise capital. So as a business person, is one thing to look at the challenges facing MSMEs in Nigeria or Africa and just shut down and say, oh, this is a high, large mountains. There's another thing for you to flip it as an entrepreneur, a business consultant like me, and say, okay, if people are facing lack of capital, access to funding, what are the opportunities therein, right? If people are saying they have talent issue, HR, recruitment, staffing, attrition rates, culture, productivity, if these are the problem, like what we've learned is that the opportunities and the problem exist together. Opportunities and problem are the same side of the same coin. If people are having issues with certification, so you can flip, but they don't call it flipping, we call it framing. You can frame your own problem differently. And in framing your problem or your problem statements, you can get clarity and even begin to see the solution, whether for yourself or for others. My point here is for you to know what the biggest issues are and for you to be able to come up with an idea, solutions, products from that same problem that you are, because Nigeria is a unique environment. For instance, I also was facing a funding problem. Nobody will borrow us money, nobody will give us money. So I said, okay, if I was facing this problem, for me not to even borrow my gist, we have two products, two fantastic products giving me money. One is giving money on a weekly basis, the other one is giving me money on a quarterly basis from lack of funds. For instance, we have a product called Get Funded, where we help people to raise funds. And I mean raise funds from banks, from BOI, local funds, foreign funds, and we get a success fee or a commission. Now, remember, I'm also facing a funding problem. But from framing my own problem appropriately, I was able to come up with a solution, not just for myself, but for others, because in my lack of fund, and I help you to raise your own funds. So I'm just like a matchmaker, the funder and the founder. Okay, I'm the enabler. Somebody has money, doesn't know what to do with his money. Another person doesn't have money, looking for money. I come and marry the both parties, and I get a commission. Okay, in understanding that problem and admitting it's a problem for me and for many others, I've created a product out of it that is not giving me money, right? So that's one. Get Funded Global. We also have another one that is called a School of Grant Success, where people want to learn how to win grants and equity particularly. So what Get Funded does is that we do debt instruments, loans, typically from banks and BOIs and foreign funds, and LPs, different instruments, LCs, AGPs, automated payment guarantees, different stuff, and BGs and those things. But in the School of Grant Success, we typically look at equity instruments and grant instruments, right? So for the School of Grant Success, we develop into an online course, 6 weeks on an LMS. We have our own LMS, and we also have the course on Seller. And that people are enrolling. We've done up to 8 cohorts in 2 years. We're now enrolling for cohort 9. Do you understand? And that course is 55,000 naira. People are paying and joining. Again, it's the same problem that I was facing, but I've taken my knowledge about funding, monetize it into a course, and people are paying for that. So whilst we are facing all these challenges, the challenges will not go away. They are there. The reward will only go to people that can come up with solutions like electricity. You can complain all you want. There's no power. The grid is failing. But is there a problem or is there an opportunity? The both sides are right. The man that said lack of power is hampering our productivity in this country is correct. The other guy that said lack of power is an opportunity for him to deploy off-grid solutions or green solutions or solar is also right. So the both sides are right. It depends on which side of the coin do you want to see. So we can look at talent, we can look at marketing. People are struggling to acquire customers, people are trying to sell, People are dancing on Instagram and TikTok and all of this to make a sales. What do you want to do about that as a business person? Okay, if that is your problem, how do you want to frame that problem properly and look for the solution for yourself? And once you solve that solution for yourself, you can deploy it to other people. How about accounting, bookkeeping, record keeping? Okay, if that is a problem, what software, what tools are you using to keep your own records? And how do you, because entrepreneurship is basically about problem solving. He who solves get rewarded. No story, end of story. He who solves gets rewarded. So we can look at all these barrage and mountains of challenges and ignore or complain or argue about it the way we argue about Messi and Ronaldo's salary or who is the GOAT. But if we do not solve or take initiative, the reward will keep going to the guys that are taking action. So I'm done here about challenge, but the challenges are real. The challenges exist and we cannot excuse them away. Thank you. So let's move on to the next matter. So what are the levers that we can step on to move from L1 to L4, from L1 to L6 maybe, So there are 5 things that I've seen across businesses that are growing rapidly, both traditional MSME businesses, okay, that is brick and mortar, Dangote's, Okomu Oil, Garego Power, both quoted and non-quoted, and the tech startup, the OPay, Flutterwave, crowdfunding, and the likes, and pay stacks. What are the 5 things you need to look at without money? I feel that most of us forget that the funding we seek is in the hand of our customers. And I mean that literally. The money you seek, the loans, the capital, the partnership, the JVs, the grants is in the hand of your customers. Paying customers, repeat customers, returning customers are tremendous sources of cash flow to any business, anybody. Just find customer. There are businesses in Nigeria today, and businesses. Did you see the figures that Transcorp just released? Even Nigeria Railway Service, NRS, or Railway Corporation, NRC, sorry, NRS is now Nigeria Revenue Service, former FIRS. So this is the figures, railway people, billions per month, trains that are not even very solid, They have the newer one and they have the other ones. So ability to stay in the front of customers, ability to find customers, ability to be aggressive with our customer acquisition strategy, would unlock funding for us or financial resources. So I was saying that there are businesses in Nigeria that make way more money than they need. They generate way more money. For instance, I'll give you an example. Last year, we got a grant, $300,000 grant for a project, and we got a funded project, another project that was, I think, $180,000. So we got a grant and a funded project. Now, this is what happened. The grant guys gave us 50% mobilization, so they paid us $150,000. And the funded project, it was a project outside of the country, in like 2 countries. They paid us the full money, 180. So we're just in a month and we had 2 major alerts, and we're having a headache. What do we do with all this money? And the next appropriate thing to do was to flow them out into commercial papers, treasury bill, because we needed them for the project, don't forget. But I can't leave that in the bank for the bank to just be looking at it and be enjoying it. We had to move them out. So very truly and very sincerely, there are businesses, there are organizations that are generating way more revenues, or they're enjoying way more patronage, more cash from customers than they need per time. So you can look at customer as a source of financing, a source of internally generated revenue to move, to change levels. Okay, what customers bring, that they bring revenue, and if you want to move from L1 to L3, your revenue must grow. Okay, then the next thing we can look at here is talent. A business that wants to grow or scale must look at talent differently and intentionally. Yes, it's good to start alone, it's good to start small, but after a while, I think it's just better to bring in people. I don't know if it was Jeff Bezos or who said or it was it Jeff Bezos or this guy from Virgin that said my job is to create the business and bring talent or people that are more intelligent than me and step out of the way. So I don't want to be the most important, the most experienced person in my business. Yes, I can be that for a while, but after a while, getting people, one hire there, two hire there, the right people, okay, with the right skill set, the right attitude, and let them come and contribute their resources. I think you will be shocked. You will be shocked. People work in large organizations, and these organizations develop products, and the products were not developed by the owners of the company. They were developed by staff, by programmers, by developers, ideas on what to do, how to do it in meetings, because they had the right people in the room that contributed to what led to the boom and success of that business. So we should not disregard the place of human capital, the place of people and persons in our businesses if we want to grow. Plus, what good does it serve anybody to say, I have a staff strength of 2 people when somebody has a staff strength of 5 or 50 or 5,000? These are bragging rights, right? Then capital. You'll notice that capital is in the middle deliberately because it impacts the other ones to the left and to the right. And you also pay attention that we're not talking about money. What most people think they need or think they lack is money. But what they're not aware that they have is capital. And I see this a lot. People say, oh, I don't have money, or I need funding, or I lack money. What you think you need, or what you think you lack is money. But what I know you have that you are not saying is capital. You have capital. Capital is a bigger conversation than money because money is a subset of capital. If we expound and unravel capital, you will see other capital inside that you can leverage, that can give you money. Because the money that you are seeking is just financial capital. Within the capital conversation, which is a superior argument than money, is social capital, is intellectual capital, okay? Is what other capital are there again? Different types of capital. That is not just funding, money, financial. Yeah, there's financial capital, but hey, there's also human capital. There's also intellectual capital. Hey, there's also social capital. Okay, so if you look at how you can build your capital base, looking at all the dimensions of capital, then the financial capital of faith is just an add-on once you have the right understanding of what capital is and how to deploy capital. Then after capital, we want to talk about visions and systems. Okay, any business that must grow, that must scale, the promoter must have a long-term ambition, drive, also, if the vision is not clear, if the vision is not there, the business will pack up, will close shop. You've seen businesses today, case in point is the classic McDonald's of those days. The brothers that own McDonald's, that founded McDonald's, didn't come with the right vision. Then Mark Kroc came, maybe bought McDonald's over them through a franchise model, exited them, and today is the owner of McDonald's globally because the McDonald's brothers, they don't have the right vision for the business. They were very small, and very myopic. Then systems, internal systems in the business, structures, procedures, KPIs, JDs, appraisals, SOPs, SLAs. Okay, any business that must grow, any organization that must grow, must have review sessions, meetings, performance appraisals, incentive, rewards, fines, systems, policies, systems, culture. Without system, the systems are like the organogram and the skeleton that carries that growth. You cannot deploy 10 billion revenue for a kind of business that don't have the right structure, they don't have the right system, the right governance, the right accountability. That business will close shop. So systems are very important. And lastly, technology. Hey, AI, tech, cloud, APIs, everything tech. So CROMs, automations, agentic bots, chatbots, artificial intelligence, everything. We must use technology better and differently and position our businesses to also leverage technology. That gives us competitive advantage, right? So these are the 5 things, and you can look at any one of them and focus on any one of them and scale your business. For instance, we have used customer. I looked at different customer segments. We can move on. And I said, we are spending too much time. The slide can move now. Chasing the wrong customer segments. I said, oh, what do I need to do? Who do I need to become to start attracting Googles and Facebook and World Bank and IMF, those guys that give grant, that give funding, rather than chasing the other segment, the retail segment, they want me to write a business plan. And a church member wants me to write a business plan for a bakery, but they don't have money. They will give me bread. Another person wanted me to write a business plan, help them raise money from BOI. They'll give me cocoa shoe, leather shoe. Do you understand? But I was chasing that segment, but I was not getting the desired results. I needed to pivot and chase a different classification of customers. It's the same service, but a higher paying customer segment. And like they said 10 years ago, this year, the rest is history, right? So if I want to grow, measurement is important, tracking is important. What are the parameters or metrics and indicators? Coco shoe, walai. I'm telling you, I go write business plan tired and Coco shoe I'll carry goes. So what are the parameters and indicators that I need to put in place or have or track as the owner, as the visionary, as the pioneer, as the president, CEO, chairman, founder of that business? These are our scorecard. If you look at these 7 parameters, it's my personal tool, right? I expanded it from an MBA material that some of us know. It's called the Business Balance Scorecard, BSc, Balance Scorecard, BSc, right? There are like 5 items of the BNC, and I just added 2 here to make it 7. So year on year, how are we doing per revenue? Is it on an increasing bar chart or on cost? Cost should be declining, yeah? And you can query it if your cost is going up continuously. How about our profit margin? Okay, net of this, net of that, what is left? End income, retained profits. How about your staff strength? Staff strength can reduce. No, they are retrenching, but you are going lean or agile, or you are going remote or hybrid, right? But we also want businesses that, to the glory of God, will create employment. What do we do to the 17 million young people that don't have a job in this country? That's a lot. That's more than the population of some countries. So sometimes going lean is good, but for me, that could be selfish because you're maximizing profits. How about you have a business that can create 3,000 jobs? I remember when we were doing UWIN project, I was a consultant on the UWIN project. First of all, the independent monitor for Imo State. I was on the project for 3 years. I left the project as the zonal coordinator for Southeast. One of the criteria in marking UWIN that time, federal government under PDP, Jonathan and Okonjo-Iweala, giving 10 million to businesses. I remember we came to, this is from Pastor Joel Sebo, we came to Elevation Church at the time to do a UWIN grant writing session. Wallahi, I can't forget, right? So where am I going with this? One of the criteria for giving businesses that grant were businesses that were heavy on employability, job creation. Those were part of the impact metrics. So on one hand, the government was willing to part with 8-10 million to you as a grant, but on the other one, the government wanted for your venture to be able to create a job, create a lot of job. So you could say, oh, I need money and I'll create 2 jobs. Another person, I need that same 10 million, I'll create 50 jobs. From an impact investment point of view, the person that said I need the same 10 million and I'll create 50 jobs will get the money. Okay, so staff employment and job creation is an important indicator to because a lot of people are hungry, a lot of people are sick, a lot of people are broke, a lot of people are jobless, and we can create jobs for them. And in that place, I have Muslim in my office, and we can invite them to staff devotion without feeling ashamed. Then we have customers. Number 5, that's customers there. How many customers do we have? You can track your customers and pray that customer base increases year on year. Why are we just having 8 people? Why can't we serve 20 or 50? Why are we serving only customers in Lagos? I have been very critical of my business in Lagos and how to expand. I tried to go to the north. I used to have an office in Abuja. That office is just collecting rent from our hand. I never see money, you know. But I was just like, oh, wait, why am I doing a lot of business from Lagos? Let me expand to Abuja. I saw Shege Bansa, I ran away with my brother. I do not need a different playbook, but I know that God wants me to grow and to expand, for me not to run a corner shop in Lagos. And I will grow. The dynasty, the lineage of grace that we are aligned with, there is multiplication and increase and global dominance. So I'm not going to force it. It's going to happen, and I will come back and testify. So I've had my own fair share of struggles and failures and challenges, on a per seconds billing. Then there is distribution network spread. I think we are very strong on that also. We can deploy a nationwide project without leaving Lagos and get people to the field, get people to sites in 48 hours. That's why we have sleeper cells. So you can have an app, you can have ability to be agile, to can deploy programs, and depending on what you do anyway, but scale and scaling is also very important. And finally, asset-based and valuation. How much is your business worth? If you want to exit, what's the total value of your assets if you have physical assets, and other asset classes. Right. So I'll leave here and just move on. These are things that are beyond funding, right? Things that are beyond funding. So the problem is typically not the product, it's our business model, understanding who the customers are, what their problem, what their needs are, and how we can deploy our resources, our product and services to them. So number one, do you know your numbers, your costs, your revenue, your profit lines? If it's a tech startup, your CAC, acquisition costs, your monthly returning revenue, MRR, your burn rates, your runways, different stuff. You need to know those things, yeah? Then do you have the right systems? Not just me, myself, and I running everything. Yeah, we can start with that, like I said, but after a while, start creating several mini versions, okay? Then are you properly aligned, okay? Have you listened to the market? Not just selling what you are passionate about, but listening to the market and getting a product market fit after your MVP, right? Immediately after MVP is your MTF, product market fit, PMF, sorry. It is at the product market fit that you start having repeat and continuous revenue, So all of that is very, very important. Let's look at the segments to look at. I was giving this example before, understanding where your revenues are coming from. Is it coming from your retail segment, consumer to consumer, or your business to business segment? Our business sector now is coming from business to development partners. 80% of my revenue comes from GAIN, IMF, World Bank, Google, Facebook, UNICEF, development partners that have projects to deploy in Nigeria, that have money to spend in naira, pounds, and dollars. We are here to work with them and collect it from their hands, and then design and deploy those projects. That is the segment I'm serving in the last 3 years of my business, repeatedly and on a consistent basis. I want to be there. Do I serve other segment? Yes. Am I interested? Minimally. So you also need to look at the kind of opportunity that exists. The consumer segment, for instance, the chop market is a chop retail market. So that segment understands food and convenience. Food and convenience. The B2B segment, number two, understands pain points. If you want to sell to a business owner like me, just come and tell me where I'm losing money and what your solution will help me solve. Two things to a business owner, no matter the business person. There are 3 business objectives, anyway, maybe 4. How to increase revenue, how to reduce costs, and how to drive efficiency. So once a solution can speak to any of those critical 3, I'm likely to, me or any other person in that business circle, likely to buy from you. Government sector is a bit complex, procurement is long, bribery and corruption, all of those things. If you want to play in that segment, you must know the nuances, know the language, and know how you want to deal with them. And I will advise you with a long spoon so that they don't corrupt your salvation and your faith. So let's move on again. So these are the segments, and there are opportunities in each of these segments. You need to understand it and know how to deploy the right product and services, and know how to unlock the opportunities in each of the segments. Like I said, my current segment is the business to development partners. I follow, listen to the GIZs, the GOPAs, the UNDPs, the UNICEFs, the UKAID, USAID, back to back a lot of times. Thank you. Let's move on. And that's because of what I do, right? So how do we convert some of these opportunities to pipeline to profit? Pay attention to their need. Anybody in that segment, they all have a need. For instance, the document I was working on overnight, 2 nights ago, that I said my wife was doing an earlier challenge, and I was listening to what the Professor Selma was saying. The bank called me, a bank, that they have this challenge and they are under pressure and they have this money to spend by Q1. And the activity must happen in March, otherwise somebody will be sacked. No, I love that kind of problem. Problem that is under pressure and there's money to back the problem. So they have a need and they reached out to us to help them design a program and they will spend extra money. They didn't tell me the budget anymore. They asked me to submit the proposal and how we can quickly do it. And that we quickly need to rush this one and do it. And the other ones will take our time. So banks, hotels, hospitals, NGOs, Google, Facebook, they have needs. They are big, yes. They have money, yes, but they have problems, so they have headache. I mean, I want to listen to them and see what I can propose. Some of them have problem on money. They have some more money. They're looking at where to channel it. Some of them want to train. Some of them want to sell softwares or ERPs or OEMs. Remember when we were working with IBM at the time? It's OEMs. They're looking for retail enterprise solutions to deploy in Nigeria, including their Watson assistant at the time when AI was nothing. IBM, they are the pioneers of AI. You have to give them their flowers, right? So problem exists at a corporate level, at an individual level, at a family level, at a national level. Anywhere where I go, if I see problem, very soon I convert that to opportunity, create a product for me, create an idea, look for the customers, network with the purchasing person or the person that have the budgets or they can make the buying decision. And from there, if I can deliver on that, I make a little thing they call profit at the tail end. So let's move on. We should begin to wrap up so that I can take questions. Let's move on, my place, Osel. So when people are in Nigeria and they don't see these opportunities, all they hear is complaints on what is not working. I call that poor, passing over opportunities repeatedly. Nigeria is not a perfect place, not a sane place. I'm not sure you're going to be sane for a while. Electricity, road, security, flooding, insecurity, power, defense. Everywhere you turn, there's a barrage of problems. So beyond funding, can we pipe down on our need for money a bit and start paying attention, tuning our minds to the cries and the complaints in our space and start thinking maybe there lie in our funding, our resources. Can I say that again? Can we tune down on our demand and quest to raise funds, to make money, or to get capital, or win grants, and start retuning to the opportunities within your local environment? You understand? Because ultimately that was what we did. I don't look for money. I look for projects that development partners can fund. For instance, one of our last Google projects last year was CS First, taking STEM education to rural schools in Lagos. And they gave us some dollars, thousands of dollars to do that. Again, this is what I know, so I can only use my own example. It may be totally different for you, and I don't assume I understand you fully or know your context fully, But to the glory of God, people that are very close to me, people that are really, really close to me, whether you partake with me on a project or you win your own grants, because we're in a system where we understand this grant stuff, projects and funding, and we get it, and we help people around us to get quite a lot. So let's start paying attention and stop passing over opportunities repeatedly. Thank you. Let's move on. I want to wrap up quickly and then start taking. Let's interact. Let's move on, please. We're now in 12 of 16. So I just form one slide to take. We can move the slide down, please. Thank you. So where do Nigeria spend? This is what they call follow the money, right? Every 1,000 naira in Nigeria goes somewhere. You'll be shocked how much bets Nigeria makes every day in this country, because a lot of our young folks are betting and gambling away their destiny, right? So there are a lot of data. You can even just search from an enterprise mindset. What are the opportunities in Nigeria? What do Nigeria spend their money? How much is in circulation in Nigeria? How much is the government spending? How much is the state? How much is in the stock market? How much is in the informal sector? You go to Alaba every day, money. You go to Computer Village, money. You go to Rara Market, money. You go to there's a fruit market in Kano that does over 40 billion naira every month. Fruit market, I'm trying to remember that I've been there because we have a project in Kano. And I was like, I cannot know this kind of thing and be in this kind of environment and be poor and be broke. It's not possible. There's so much in the ecosystem. So anyway, I'm not saying we are USA or we are better than USA, or we should not look at global opportunities. I'm not saying locally, however bad it is, there's still something for me here, and there's something for you here. So food, people will chop now. Transportation, Jesus, how much is railway people making? Have you seen how much those keke people are making or Korokbe? Because Nigerians don't sit down. You tell a Nigerian that there's Boko Haram, there's bandits, they are killing people, they are kidnapping people. You come to Yaba in the evening, people are still following night bus and going to Abuja and going to Kwara and going to Kogi. Nigerians, they are very stubborn. They don't sit down one place. Where on are they go? Must you go? Must you travel? Yeah, we can argue that, yeah, they don't have money. Not everybody will go by plane. And that's a use case for mobility. The GIGs and the court countries of this world. Those guys are reckoning billions of dollars on Naira almost every year. And that doesn't remove the complexities and the headache in running that kind of business. Okay. So anywhere you turn, data, utilities, waters, waste. So please pay attention and look at what the opportunities are around the locality and what people are spending their money on. Thank you. Let's move on. The next one, please. So where do we find this real advantage from? Number one, as I begin to wrap up, look for where your opportunity exists. Go back to those 7 segments. You have the material, pay attention. Track your business. Use the tools that we discussed, the growth metrics. Okay. Build strong systems. You cannot build wealth or growth on a weak skeleton. It will crumble, it will crash. Then understand the right lever. You see those levers, those fantastic 5. You don't need to use the whole 5. Just pick one. Once you deploy one or attack one, like I went for customer acquisition of a customer segment, development partners. And immediately those people gave me resources. I use those financial micro or nano. Go for customers. Put your product out at the cheap level. Anywhere you can get visibility, you can get mention, you can get a referral, you can do an affiliate program, you can make an additional sale, upsell people, cross-sell people. Be dangerously drunk with making a sales and acquiring customers. I have a book like that helped me at the time, how to acquire customers and keep them for life. Michael Leboff, how to acquire customers and keep them for life. Michael Leboff. Okay. So once you acquire the right customer, like a customer now come and patronize you once, and that transaction is 50,000 or 100 million, that could be all the resources you need. If you have a good margin, you will now deploy those capital, that resource internally generated without borrowing, without getting grants to other part of your business to scale. That's what we're saying in number 4. Understand that customer lever can help you unlock, if you deploy that lever to the right segments, because not all the segments that can give you the kind of financial rewards you want. For the consumer segment is volume and margins. So you must understand the mix. Thank you. Let's go to 15, and that's the end. So thank you so much, everybody. I hope it's been once a while. I wish us the best. I'm actually in class. I'm in between lectures, and I had to jump out to do this. So thank you so much for having me. Sorry if I offended you, or if you think um, this could have been better or different. But again, it is what it is. I'm part of the family. I'm not a stranger to Elevation Church, and we are part of the greatness community. Thank you so much, everybody. Now, I want to take your specific questions on grants. What is grants? Where is grants? How to get it? How not to get it? Let's just take some quick rapid fire question on money, funding, grant, maybe, if you have any. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm still on the call. Thank you. Let me go and check what's in Liverpool and West Ham they play.
Don't worry, sir. Liverpool is winning.
Okay, very nice. Setting the scores. I saw 1-0 the other time. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I'm still here. No
Okay,
worry.
thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Esene.
Somebody don't
Thank
give me
you so
as
much.
if say I carry tickets. I don't play ticket too. I don't play ticket too. I'm just watching ball for the sake of I don't carry my
Thank you so much, Mr.
have
Esene.
you not go
Really appreciate
carry
the time.
scores? Thank you, Mr. Tosi.
So we'll be taking your questions. Okay. So, Mr. Esene, somebody is asking what is the thin line between applying for a grant and stealing ideas? Interesting.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Let me see if I can attempt to answer that question. So the thing there is, so we are we are calling for grants, right? And the last time we checked, over 700 people have applied. We're only going to give 5 people. But you see, those 700 people, they need to be vulnerable. You need to tell me your idea now. If I want to give you money, you need to know. If you want to get money from BOI, you need to put in a business plan. So a credit officer will read your application now. So he or she can decide whether to give you money or not. And he or she can decide whether to go and start that business by themselves. So there's a part of divulging for credit that makes you vulnerable. That doesn't leave you defenseless anyway. So what are the defense methodology? You can sign an NDA if you must. You can keep the idea to yourself if you want. You can protect yourself with intellectual properties, either patents or trademark or copyrights, and have evidences, timely evidences, such that if you feel that you've been infringed upon, and if you feel that it was when I submitted this document to you or this idea, and months later, and you saw somebody is doing the same thing, once you can prove that, you can get compensation. So those are what I can say. Otherwise, you will not be able to do anything. So my idea is unique. My idea is this. I'm not going to share them. I'm not going to send them. Another thing to do is to make sure you also submit your idea to only credible programs, right? Credible programs. So Lemon is not interested. Maybe they are taking people idea. I don't know. I cannot speak for them. But at his level with his success and his heart that is giving out to people over 10 years, I'm not sure he's interested in going to do your poultry farm or your piggery. And you're saying that this is my pig farm. I want to use AI to do pig. If I tell the Limelu Foundation, because of $5,000, they will steal my idea. They care less. They are busy. They are successful. They just want to help you. So be humble enough to divulge. Yeah. And I'm not saying in all cases that it will work. What cases where a startup have divulged and the principal, or the entity, or the investor, or the financiers have taken advantage. So such things happen.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for that question, for that response. I hope the person in question, I hope that question was done justice to. So the next question is, what kind of business qualifies for grants?
So the thing is that all kind of business qualify for grants. You see this grant thing, the grants coming to Nigeria every year is in billions of dollars. Billions. for everybody. There's grants for federal government. Federal government of Nigeria, they collect grants from World Bank, from IAFDB, from IMF. State governments collect grants. 2 years ago, we worked with the particular state government on a AFDB grant for solar powered borehole for the states. Solar powered borehole. State governments, NGOs collect grant, businesses collect grant, hospitals, school, military, research, education, academics, transport, logistics. There's grants for everybody. Artistics, music, creative, everybody. There's grants for everybody, sincerely.
Okay, thank you. You heard that as grant for everybody. Okay, I want to assume this next question is a bit specific, but maybe you might want to respond. So it says, does an event promotion and management company qualify for a grant?
Event promotion and management. Yeah, I hope I will not take my word back. Event promotion and management. So let me rephrase that question so that it was too generalistic. So you see, this grant I was speaking about, and there are different types of grants. Once you want to give a trader that sells tomato, pepper in a market grants, we call that philanthropy. Like a politician is going to give people grinding pepper or 50. No, the federal government have a scheme where they give people, what they move that program, conditional cash can transfer for indigent with 50,000 naira per person per household. Do you understand? It's a form of grant because you don't pay back once you meet the eligibility criteria. So in granting and grant making, there are different names, just like equity or debt. There are different instruments. If it's an impact focused grant, no, an event center will not go collect it. But if it's on the philanthropic or donation part or CSRO styles, you understand? Then I don't want to confuse you, but there are layers, there are different objectives and different colorations of grants. So what we call grants, inside of grants, we have donations, we have philanthropies, we have impact investments, we have seed funding, we have catalytic resources. There are different things inside. The grants that you give to Paystack or Flora Wave or also that organization have collected grants. Let's say if one of our tech startup, Crop to Cash, to work with farmers, or the kind of grants that we get, they are not the donation type or the CSRO style type of grants. However, an NGO or a bank can work with you the way Wema Bank works with this girl, this madam, what the madam now that does this trade fairs, Ninja brand chick. In the book of Wema Bank for last year, they gave Ninja brand chick 500 million naira published financial reports for events and access to market for SMEs as grants under their CSRO initiative. Do you understand? So she can come back and say, you know what, since we are constantly been doing this over 3 years, and I don't want to keep renting venues. Venue is the biggest uptake of this funding. Give me the money to build those centers. I will use it for our co-branded event. Then I also rent it out for sustainability. In that instance, yes. But broadly, and if it's not properly adapted or adopted, no, it will not get grant. I don't know if I've confused you, but it's okay. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I hope this person is convinced enough, I believe. Okay, this person, this next question, I'm not sure if this person was in the last grant class we had, and I think these questions were responded to as well, but I would still call it out. Maybe you might want to add to that or something. How do we find the grants that suits what we do? Hence, you said there's grant for everyone. So this person is holding you by a word and saying that since there's grant for everyone, how do we find the grants that suits what you do?
There are 3 steps to winning a grant. 3 steps. The first step is information. Ability to even find it in the first place. Ability to know that there's a grant running. Without information, you cannot take action. You cannot take advantage. You cannot position. So that question is very important. The next step after information is eligibility. Once you see a grant call, if you do see a grant call, you have to be eligible. You have to meet the qualifying criteria. Otherwise, you are wasting your time. If the funder said you must have an audited account, or you must have, there's some grants that depending on the ticket size, they ask you to have co-signatories or a consortium application. Not more one party can apply. If you apply alone, you will miss out because the consortium application. Do you understand? So the second thing about grants is eligibility. Then the last one is alignment. What you want to submit, what you plan to submit, however fantastic, however interesting, however beautiful it is, it must align to the funder's investment thesis or the investment objective, because grants is also an impact investment. If there's no alignment, the money will not come to you. For instance, if we go to, let me see if I can share my screen. If we go to, I'll come back and answer that question. I just want to show something. If we go to, can you guys see my screen? I want to give a quick example. Can you guys see my screen?
No, sir.
This Google Meet can
Not yet. Okay. Okay, yes.
Okay, sorry, don't.
We're seeing Premier League.
No, don't worry. I'm just checking scores. Nothing is happening. Can you see what's showing now? What's showing now? What's showing now?
Premier League.
Still Premier League. No, not Premier League. I want to show them. Let me start again. I want to quickly do something. Not Premier League. I don't want to show Premier League. Premier League, stop now. Let me stop share. Stop sharing. I want to share my web and I want to do. So there are three things I've said: information, eligibility, and alignment. I want to speak to alignment. New tab. Let me go to new tab. Oh, this could help me. It's another embarrassment today. I want you something. Then I'll now go back and answer your question. I don't know what's showing now, please. Is this new tab?
Still loading. Okay, we're seeing your home screen, your Microsoft home screen.
Okay. I want to go to Airtel Foundation. I want to show some Airtel Foundation. Is it showing Airtel Foundation?
No, not yet.
Is it showing Airtel Foundation?
No, sir. No, sir.
Well, one second. Can somebody help me show? Stop sharing.
Should I help out here?
Yeah, I don't mind. I want to do this. Help me. Airtel Foundation.
Okay.
Please hold on. I have
Can you share the link so I can?
No, please hold on. I'm just doing a search. I think it will show now. Can you guys see Airtel Foundation? Can you guys see Airtel Foundation on the screen?
It's still loading.
I think
still
you can see it.
Yes.
Okay. So let me go back and answer that question. Information, eligibility, and alignment. So if you're looking for grant funding, the first thing is information. There are three places to get information. Three places. There are free platforms, like MSME Africa or grants for NGOs that you can follow for free platforms, okay, that you can get grant information from. There are paid platforms, that you need to subscribe. We have a paid platform in dollars, over $2,000 that we paid, right, per year. There are paid premium platform that will get you those grants you want immediately it is published. That's number two. Then the last way to get grant is to find and follow foundations. I call it FFF, find and follow foundations. Now, Airtel is a big company. They make a lot of money. Airtel Foundation is a grant-giving body of Airtel. People makes a lot of money under their parent body called Alphabet. But Google can never give you grant. When I get a grant from Google, I collect it from google.org. What you know is google.com, the money-making part of Google. Give grants google.org, google.org. That's the body of Google that gives grants. So MTN has MTN Foundation. Ford has Ford Foundation. Mastercard has Mastercard Foundation. Okay? Dangote has Dangote Foundation. Tolaram has Tolaram Foundation. NNPC has an even Bet Nigeria, as bad as I don't like betting, but they are making a lot of money. Do you know that Bet Nigeria has a foundation? Go and check it. Now, if you go to the site, you will see an idea of what these guys want to fund or give their money or grant to. The next thing is for you to align. If you don't align, you will not get their money. Now, the foundation is telling us that there is philanthropic initiative or something like body of popular financial empowerment. So that your project speaks to financial empowerment. Does it speak on education? Does it speak on how to protect the environment? And does it have anything to do with digital inclusion? If it doesn't speak to any four of these things, then we will give you money now. In our money misalignment and mismatch. Let me quickly go to Bet Nigeria Foundation and see. So that answer that question. So you can get from paid listing or premium listing. You can go with. I want to stop share, please. You can go with MSME Africa or Fund for NGO. And so I'll stop here for now. I don't know if that speaks to your question. But I want to add one additional context to by showing that Bet Nigeria Foundation, just like the way I want to balance it with. So you can say the investment thesis, or if you want to align to get money from ETF Foundation, you use that field started with FBD. Go to Bet Nigeria Foundation. What are they saying? What are they proposing that they can also do before? And this one, I would like you to help me read it when you see the site, so that when you are looking for money, you must know who has that kind of money, and if the person is willing to give you that money, and they must state their intention if they are willing to fund your types of initiative. Can anybody help me read anything here of Bet Nigeria Foundation? I'm looking for their thematic area that they say they fund. Our focus, you see, healthcare, education, and what? Sorry. Let me go back. Let me delete it. Sorry. Well, I'm going back to Bet Nigeria. This is Bet Nigeria Foundation. Please, some more minutes at the come. I open the night by itself. I'm so sorry. Okay. So 1 minute. I'm so sorry. I'm looking at their focus, their area. So let me share now and see if I can show you guys some. So you can look at this versus Airtel. What's the difference? So what we looked at Airtel, what's Airtel saying they will fund? And what we are looking at Bet Nigeria, what's Bet Nigeria saying they will give their grants to? What they say it. Can anybody say it? Can anybody say it?
I'm not seeing it from here.
If you can see, help us read it out now, please. If you can see it, help us read it out.
I don't know, maybe it's my network, but I can't see. It's
Anybody
saying
see?
you're trying to
Number
share,
one
but
is
it's not
what?
showing here.
Number are typing it.
Development.
Number one is what?
Healthcare development.
Education.
Can anybody see it?
Number one is healthcare
I
Number
can
one
see
is
it too from here.
development,
Number two, what?
education development,
Number three, what?
community infrastructure,
Number four is what?
sports development,
Number five is what?
youth empowerment.
If you have a project for sports, will you go to Airtel? Airtel.
No, no, sir.
What does Airtel say they want to give their money for? What's Airtel giving their money for? Can you remember? Airtel has a formula that they gave us, feed. It's called FEED. What did they say under? Let me check it again. So that's it, Sha. So you need to know where to look at to get the information. You need to be eligible and you need to be properly aligned. That's what I will say to that question. Thank you.
All right. Sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Ivo. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, this person says I am in level 1. I consult and help business to review their process, set of structures, review procedures and policies alignments to quality management system. At the end, I cut out waste, increase margin and business revenue. What kind of grants can I apply for? I think this is a service question. I don't know if Mr. Esene heard this question. I think this is a service question.
Yeah, I do. That person is you can do something in process automation, SAP,
Can anyone hear me?
or digital transformation. That's the kind of opportunity you can get. Do you understand, sir? Process automation,
Do
SAP, and ultimately digital transformation. You know, you can work with Odo,
okay.
you can work with Odo, you can work with I'm looking for these other digital transformation tools. Anybody, you can work with Amazon Cloud, IBM, and they can support you to deploy automation and digital transformation for your businesses and businesses that you consult for.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, this person said mine is an appreciation message. Okay, I was one of the School of Grant beneficiary in the last cohort, although no grants yet, but still applying aggressively and learning from you again on this platform. This person is just saying thank you for the tutelage.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, I currently run a startup targeting. I currently run a startup urban residents and working professionals. However, I've recently been seeing grant opportunities focused on rural communities and underprivileged groups. Can I design and deploy a solution that addresses the needs of these rural or less privileged groups on the same platform, or would it be better to separate the offerings?
No, I should separate it. I think you should separate it. So your main business should be your main business. Then when you can, create something for that rural business automation. Do you understand? So I think you should separate it. There are businesses or grant for